dear me, what a start. Spunky Squirrel Watch. And then the conversation goes on. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show, The Wool Patch. Yes, it's Stuart here. 8 o'clock, and so many of you here. And yes, in the YouTube chat, we've got Fizz, who is also on Spunky Squirrel Watch. I think it's just appeared at your window. Is that right, Fizz? She just went, "Oh, it's here at the window." As always, she keeps you in the chat with links and conversation, and if there are any bots, she chucks them out. But you know what? I don't think we've ever had any yet, have we, Fizz? No, so far so good. Yes, there's so many of you here. I didn't realise that here in the UK there's a massive concert from BBC Radio 2 in the park at Leicester. And this happened earlier. So here it is. That's one of the shots. And Kylie's on now at 8. So I don't know if anyone would be watching. They'd all be watching her. We'll go and watch it later, because I know there are many, many fans. But this was earlier. And the reason why I've got this one, because Sam Ryder was on. And yes, he is always sporting something crochet. Do you want to see what he was wearing? Let's have a look. Let's go to this one. Look at that crochet. Yes, and not only is it fabulous crochet, but it's a two-piece crochet. Now, how uncanny is this? Because what was I wearing literally 4 weeks ago on the Wool Patch show? I was wearing something identical, my own two-piece. Can you remember it? Let me show you here. So it goes from there to this. Look, and just with the finger snap, there. Look. But I was obviously in knitting. But there, those sort of 3/4 length shorts just above the knee. How uncanny was that to see then Sam today? 4 hours ago, was like, in crochet. And it's wonderful. If you want to find more about Sam's crochet, it is... Oh, Colin told me earlier, and I've forgotten who it was. Did I tell you, Fizz? No, it's on my phone, and my phone's up there. Ooh, Wear, W-E-A-R, Wolf, W-O-L-F, Luna. That's it, Werewolf Luna. She makes everything for him, and she does custom commissions and stuff. But how cool was that, seeing that there? But there's so many of you who clearly have chosen... Kylie's not for me. It's Stuart and Fizz at the Wool Patch. That's what it is. So lovely to have you with us and your company. The chat is already on fire. As we've seen throughout the intro there, with a new colour scheme. Season 5, everyone. 5 years we've been doing it. This is, we started doing it live last year, so it's, in the wool world, everything tends to go almost like the school world from September through to August. So yes, September, season 5. And it's good to see so many people here. Bob, hi Stuart, James and I are watching in Denmark. They're off on a fabulous long trip. They're in Denmark, then they're off to Shetland Wool Week. If you haven't been following them, follow James or Bob and you'll see it all there. So many of you are in. M, hi Stuart from USA. Good to have your company. There's Rob there, and Everbee, Margaret, James, and Jeff. Hey, Jeff. So many of you. Yes, welcome to the show. What's coming up? If I push this button here, we'll show you what it is. We've got the Scandi Advent Calendar. I've been sewing like the clappers over the last week. I've had my sew mojo suddenly come back. I'm going to show you the finished Scandi fold-up advent calendar. Then after this show at 9 o'clock, I've made a tutorial and that will go live. I know many of you bought the advent calendar and want to make it. Everbee, I think you finished it, haven't you? Tell us all about it in the chat. I think you've got bells and whistles and all beautiful things on there too. But I've made a tutorial, so if you want to know how to make it, that will go live at the end of this show at 9 o'clock, and you can go onto the channel and watch it if you haven't got anything else to do, or when you decide to make it. So I'm going to show you that in a jiffy, then the classic Guess the Year at 8:15, then a brand new yarn from the West Yorkshire Spinners. Every autumn they release their Christmas yarn, and it's out now, called Nutcracker, and I've got it here to show you. Then 8:30, a special gallery. It's not back. Sadly, the algorithm's just not working. The hashtag doesn't work. And actually, over summer, not many of you were making. And I don't blame you. It gets too hot. The needles get put down. So not many finished objects. So to keep it in its place, because I think you'll all start knitting again as soon as the clocks go forward and it gets dark. Saying that, it's now dark here. What's it? 8:10, and it's now dark here. So a very special gallery, and it kind of fits in with a brand new season because it's going to be the first ever gallery. What I want to show you is interesting. Then we've got some chit chat, some news, a little new feature that I imaginatively called Yarn News. If any of you can come up with a better feature name for this news section, then tap it in the comments, and we'll take. I'm sure you could think of much better ones than just Yarn News. And then, as always, we finish with the charts. What's hot right now in Ravelry, in crochet, and in knitting? Though actually, you've just seen what's hot right now, and that was Sam Ryder, wasn't it? In that two-piece. So there's me bang on trend for once in a two-piece thing that Colin made me. Wonderful. Oh well, yeah, we've got some more of his work too. Right. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go. Let's get rid of that, and let's go into the Scandi Advent Calendar. This wonderful little Advent Calendar that I've been sewing, and I had great fun sewing. Here's just a little snippet. Are you feeling Christmassy now? Especially as it's dark outside, it's kind of appropriate, isn't it? Oh, what a delightful Advent calendar. And it is so easy to make. So hopefully that's inspired you to get your sewing machine out or to have a go. It's for sale in the shop. As always, Fizz will drop the links in. We have the basic calendar, and let me go to this one here. Not that one there. There we go. This is the finished one. So we've got this nice little sleeve where you can put the pole through, or a bit of bamboo like I did outside. And then you have your picture. And as you saw, I just did a little bit of quilting. And if you're not a quilter, you can quite easily get away with doing no quilting at all because we used fusible wadding. So this is stuck down. So you don't actually have to do any quilting if you don't want to at all. And then they're your pockets. And it was the quickest one ever. And I think I showed you this if you watched Selly Telly. But don't worry, if not, that's why I'm showing you again now. That's how it comes. Now, if you're used to the calendars, you know you would cut out each pocket, and that would be a pocket, and it would have your seam all around it, and you'd have to cut that square out. You'd have to fold down the top, hem it, then iron in all the sides and the bottom and hem that, and then sew it down on your picture. But this one is a new style, and a lot of the big companies are now catching on. I think it was some of the independent fabric companies that did it first, but now this is Makawa with their first ever fold up, and it won't surprise me if soon Moda will be doing it too next year. It wouldn't surprise me. But in essence, you saw it's this idea of literally folding the pockets up. So it was that and that. That's it. And then once you've done that with all of them, so let's go to the top. It was literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines of stitching all the way down. And no fiddly turning, pivoting, turning and sewing, pivoting and turning, or having to pin it in. Let me know in the comments, sewers, if you've ever done an advent calendar, as in the old school ones, and then if you have done the ones like this where you fold up the pockets, because it would just be nice to see your comments if it was like me. That was so much more enjoyable. It was so less fiddly. Let us know. And Everbee, you've as I say, you've sewn yours already. Again, let us know if you found it an easier process. Because this, I think, if you're new to sewing, actually is a really good project to start with, due to it being so fiddlyless, so less fiddly, and it makes a wonderful end project. So the tutorial will go live, and it's there. You can watch it, or you can pass it on to someone else who may want the tutorial. And it can live forever on YouTube. Let me know. Have you made one before? Do you have these traditions at Christmas where an advent calendar goes up? Because I know this is kind of ageless, this idea of having an advent calendar. Obviously, when I was a teacher, the kids loved the advent calendar, and I, with my form of 28, 29 students who I would see every morning for registration, we would have an advent calendar. And of course, there are 25 days. Well, we could quite easily go through December the 1st, right? You're going to open it. December the 2nd, you're going to open it. So my form loved it. And I know as kids kind of get older, they think they grow out of it, but actually secretly they really like it. And then when they get certainly older, like 18, 19, they want, I want my advent calendar back. You can't stop that. But I know many of them love these personal ones where they're made each year and they come out each year. And sometimes it's the same one that keeps coming out and out and out. Let me know if that was you, where you had the same advent calendar coming out. Or you, for your children or for friends, are you making brand new ones every year? So you get some sewing satisfaction. Let us know. Everbee says, seriously, folks, if you're in two minds to get this advent calendar, just get it. It's fun and quick make. There we are. See, perfect. Sue, because you bought one, didn't you, Sue? Not had an advent calendar for many years, so my computer's going funny. So making this one for myself, just need that tutorial. Has never done any sort of quilting, but can sew. Well, you could do this. As I say, you don't even have to do any quilting if you don't want to, because if you go to use fusible wadding, then it's even less hassle. So I would suggest that. It's just, Wonderful. And Sue, if you're going to do it for yourself, are you going to put your presents in yourself? Yes. Or you're going to get someone else to do it? Or you can put your own little treats in. Are you going to put sweet treats in, chocolate treats in, or are you going to put? You could put some stitch markers in. You could put lots of knitting treats in. It'd be wonderful. So I sell the. If you're interested, or if you know other people who are, let's go to this one again. So I sell this panel on its own. That's how you buy it. And as I say, you've got the tutorial, but at the top, they do have the instructions there. Or you can buy it in a kit form where I have cut it up. I've put your calico on the back, and don't use anything fancy on the back. As I say in the tutorial, using calico is perfect because when you come to sew it down, you can actually see through the calico. And the fusible wadding. So you could buy the kit with it all in there, though it doesn't have that in the kit, but that you only need like 5.5 inches of width of fabric. So you can have something like that in your stash anywhere, aren't you? I'm sure. Right, let's come back to me. There we go. For Guess the Year, yes, it's that time where we just have a little fun look at something and we try and guess the year. Now, because we're starting a new season, it's all about me and the wool patch, isn't it? I thought it would be good fun to show you a pattern of something that we've done here in the shop and guess the year for it, to celebrate for the 5th season of the wool patch. So you're going to see a pattern and you're guessing when it was created. And from our point of view, it's me involved. So when was it? What year? And then you're going to chuck them in the comments and we'll get as many on the screen as possible to guess the year. So get looking closely. You might see some clues. So come on, get those comments. What year do you think it is? I've obviously already done this with Fizz in technical rehearsal, and she sort of was a bit flummoxed because she's like, oh, looking at the hair. So let us know. Put them in the comments and we'll see who can guess the year of when this pattern came out. James says 2021. Let's move that down there. (2018), 2015. Sue's going 2019. Have you been watching from the beginning? How many of you have been watching since 2000? Oh, better not give it away. Well, count back from 5. What do you think? 2012. Time up. Yes, it's the sleeved scarf. If you can't remember, it was the first make that Colin did with me in the shop. After coming in and me setting up the shop, and you know I set up the shop in 2016. Oh, well, that's a clue. He came in and the relationship started, sort of the friendship relationship was created, and we were talking yarn, and then I saw some of his work, and then suddenly somehow we got onto looking at catwalks and fashion work, and the sleeved scarf came about. And this was made, he knitted this garment, can you see his drawing there, that his sort of first sketch for us. So the answer was 2018. Lois, you were on the money. Well done. Yes, pre-COVID, before I grew the hair, though it's looking like it is now, isn't it? And then I had it all cut off after COVID. But yes, it was the sleeved scarf, a fabulous garment done on chunky yarn. And let's go and take a closer look, shall we? Because he's, as you know what Colin's like. He's done a special drawing for me because I said, oh, I want to talk about it on the show. Sadly, I can't show you the original because he wanted to make something else with it. He wanted to make a wonderful V-neck jumper and a sham out of it. So he unpicked that and re-knitted it and made another garment. So this drawing here, so you can kind of see what it is. It starts off as a rib for the arms, and you do that on a small needle, and the rib helps to pull it in. And I'm just getting something ready to show you. If I just do this, there, and get rid of that. And then there are a few increases, and then you basically, you've come up, and then you're doing what is the scarf. And you make it even more sort of drapey and flowy by increasing dramatically your needle size. So the body of the scarf are on, really big pins. So like 10 mil, 12 mil. Remember, we're using chunky yarn, so we probably started on an 8 mil. And then you just keep knitting till as long as you want, how many wraps around, and then you come back down again with a few decreases and then go back into your cuff. And then all you do is you turn that together and sew the cuff up pretty much to the elbow. So I'm now going to show you now. Let's go back to the phone camera. This is Colin's prototype. So there's the cuff. You can see where it's sewn together, and he's sewn it getting up towards the elbow, and then it just goes out, and it's just, you can see huge pins, and then you just keep going and going and going. Look, and it goes on and on and on. Oh, look, you made a beret there as well. On and on and on until you then come back down to the other arm. Simple. And now, we did ages ago, we talked about it, and I don't think I ever released it, but I typed his wonderful sketching and writings up, and I've made a pattern. Yes, we've made it into a pattern, into a PDF, and by the wonders of technology, should this work? Come on. Yeah. Can we do that and hide that? Look at this, look. Oh, page 2. There we are. Now this PDF, as always, Fizz will give you the link and you can download it if you want to make your own sleeve scarf. It would be really good this autumn and winter to start a craze off for the sleeve scarf. Come on, you lot. It takes no time at all to make. So you can see there, we did it on chunky, 8 balls of chunky. And we used, when we had it in the shop, an acrylic mix from Berger de France. And we're getting an exciting new acrylic in for this autumn and winter from Katia. I think I showed it to you on the last Wool Patch show. It was like a textured yarn. It had slubs of one yarn in, then like a polyester, really thin sparkle in. So we're going to be using that. So I'll certainly be doing it. You see, so we started off on 7 mil, and then the pattern's written all out there. So there you go. You can see where you start off with the sleeved cuff. Now, I have written this pattern up. It's not been tested. It's not professional. It's free. so you can see where this will make you giggle. There, look. You should end what's that, first, second, third paragraph down. You should end up with 90 stitches, or will it be 88? But once you then get up to the big part, the 12 mil, you just keep knitting and knitting and knitting and knitting. And I will attempt to show you now, because it's mighty warm in here, but it goes round and round and round. It would look great with a coat over the top. Look. And I've got a long sleeve top on in here too. Look, you see? Look. And this is, look Look. That for drape. Am I giving you autumn and winter vibes yet? There. See what I mean? You get the idea, don't you? So there we go, the free pattern for you. It would be great. Come on, let's start a craze over the next 3 months. Let's get people talking about this. What's a sleeved scarf? You can imagine having a coat over this. It would be wonderful with that poking through at the bottom and then all this zhuzh at the top. And you lot all around the world, whether you're in America, whether you're in New Zealand, whether you're in Denmark, will be great. There you go. I'm just going to derobe, I think. As I derobe and take this off, you're ready for the Nutcracker. Take a look at this. How good does that look? If you're a fan of the West Yorkshire Spinners, you might have been waiting for this for some time because it's now historical that they do a Christmas yarn. Well, this is it. The Nutcracker. 2 free patterns as well with it. And they've done it electronically because normally you only get the free pattern when you come into the store and you buy the yarn. But I've got them electronically, so you can download this pattern. It does look in a different colour there. That's because it's the crochet one. So you can do Helga, the crochet free sock, or you can do the Alexander, the knitted free sock. And let's go to this one. There. I haven't got my light box out for this because it was a huge thing to set up. So let's do that. And where was the info? Because I know you like that. Oh, right. Let's do that. And then let's drag that down to that. And let's go back. That should be there. There we go. Oh, it's over my head now. We're designing on the no, it's gone too big. There we go. Oh, there's my arrow where to put things. That's slightly out of alignment, isn't it? It's actually, considering I don't have the light box set up, this is a very good likeness of what you can see. It is just those colours that you kind of associate with Christmas, the Victorian red and the Victorian green, which you've got there, and then the pops of blue and what would you call that? Mustard, yellow ochre. If Penny was here, she's often come into the shop. She'd be. Can you remember? I teased her, and she was hyperventilating at the thought. She's already said she's going to come in next week and buy it. Now it does have. They call it sparkle. It's the 2% is polyester. You can see all the stats there. 4-ply, classic 4-ply. And 1 ball gets you a pair of socks. In fact, you still always get a little bit left over. So you might have that little bit left over to be able to get you enough for a toe for your next sock. For a different pair later on. Massive yardage, 400 meters there. And you can chuck it in the washing machine. Now, it does say 75% wool, but, which is really important to talk about, 35% of that wool is British Blueface Leicester. It's all British wool anyway, but that could be Texel, it could be, all those breeds that we use for meat as well that get put into that. But it's good that they say Blueface Leicester because it is kind of a luxury yarn, Blueface Leicester, so it does give it a bit of softness. Obviously, it's not merino. It's not merino soft, but it's British yarn. I know many of you want to support local and you want to support British, and it's spun in Yorkshire. So it hasn't gone to Nepal to be spun, or Peru to be spun and then come back. So the air miles are good from that point of view. And it's for sale now. You can buy it from our shop for £9 a ball, or you can shop at your local yarn shop. James, it's calling Denmark. Bob, James, Denmark, calling. Have you seen this in yarn shops in Denmark yet? They've been all over. In fact, did you see it in Scotland when you were there before you jumped back again? Have you bought a ball of it already? Or are you going to wait till you come to my shop? That's going to be so exciting. Yes, Nutcracker. And let's go back to this one. As I say, you've got the 2 free patterns. If you come into the shop, that's the hard copy, as I say. And they are really, really well done. It's, of course, by... look, you can see the floor there. Oh, I've gone to my lavender and blue one. Oh, there's so many buttons. There. What am I holding up for? Like a knit. By the Winnick Mum, who's done some brilliant things. And if you are new to socks and you want to learn socks, go back to our last episode, August edition of the Woolpack Show Live. We had a whole sock feature, and we had some great links to go-to patterns. And Winnick Mum is one of them. Brilliant tutorial online with pictures and videos and everything. And if you come into the shop, you get this hard copy version, and it's wonderful. You've got all the diagrams and everything there. So if you come into the shop, you can get one of those, or if not, you can download it. Teddy, let's have a look. What should Teddy say? Good evening, Teddy. Okay, that's the scarf pattern. Said to print. Brilliant. I'll try it in double knit on 2mm needles and see what's... Oh my Lord. Teddy does wonderful doll making stuff. The costumes, dresses, should I say, that he makes are exquisite. Like tiny. Teddy, that will be wonderful. How exciting. Oh, James is there. Definitely waiting for our visit. Yes. Wonderful. So there we go. That's the sock yarn, the Nutcracker. And where am I going? On my schedule, Fizz. Oh yes, we're there, aren't we? Are we on the nose? Just a little bit off 3:30. That's not too bad, is it? But there. The gallery. Now this is where we would normally just slow down a bit. We'd get a bit comfy in our seats, wouldn't we? Give a little wiggle. Maybe put our feet up. Maybe we would put our knitting down. Well, if you are knitting, who's knitting? Just drop it in the chat. If you're not in the chat and you're watching live on your settee and I'm on the big telly and you can't chat to us via chat, if you're watching, put your knitting down now. Because we need all eyes on this. But if you are knitting in the chat, just let us know what you're doing. Yes, we would normally just slow down and we would take time to watch the gallery, which is where I would get pictures emailed to me, or mostly via Instagram, where you would use the hashtag. But I've explained all this before. The hashtag algorithm has completely changed and you can no longer search. If you go in and search any hashtag, it gives you on your iPhone or whichever Android version you're using, it will give you the top. So you can filter the hashtag with top, and they're basically the most likes. Or you can then filter, which is balmy, most recent top likes. So they've got rid of the normal most recent, which would just put them into nice recent, from newest to last. But they only show, for some reason, most recent with the most likes. It's upsetting, isn't it? But anyway, so it pretty much means the gallery is defunct. But we'll see how it goes. You lot might be up and knitting and sewing and crocheting like the clappers over the autumn, because that's when we're mostly doing it, isn't it? When it's cold nights, watching Strictly, which we're going to talk about in a little while. But as it's the 5th season, I thought, well, we haven't got a gallery to show, but we actually have got the first ever gallery. And it's interesting to look at because it all happened in 2020 when we went into lockdown. So take a look at this for a little reminisce of the past. On our last video, when we were preparing for the lockdown and the staying at home, we said for you to send us your projects so we could have an old school gallery like Tony Hart used to do on Heartbeat. I love that program. He was a massive influence on me and my interest in arts and crafts and making things. I would love watching that program and watching what he creates. And in that program, as I say, he would have this moment, a minute or two, where you would see what everyone else was making in the world. Obviously way before Instagram. And that was the only way you could see what other people were doing, was through TV programs. And so I asked for your picks so we could just take a moment out and just have our own gallery. And here is what you're making. So grab a cup of tea if you haven't already got it. Let's slow the pace down and enjoy seeing what people have been making so far during their time at home. Cool. Blimey. It took you back, didn't it? And yes, I nearly spat my beer out. I was chatting with Fizz, just getting ready for the next section, and that was what I just said to you. I haven't got the sleeved scarf anymore because Colin had repurposed it, and there it was. So 2020, he'd repurposed it into that jumper and the sham. Oh, yes, I don't like 2020 for obvious reasons, but there were, I know, for many positives that came out of 2020, and that was one of them, the gallery feature, which went from strength to strength over the years, and you can see even graphically how it progressed, because we got more information from you all, we got more information on designers and patterns, and it was influencing, inspiring so many, to the point where we were putting the information on a different page because we couldn't fit it all on the screen. But let's see how it goes over the autumn and winter of Series 5. And if you are making, and you do make, don't worry about the hashtag. Just tag me. If you post a picture on Instagram, you can either tag me with the @thewoolpatch in your description blurb. But I know some people are precious about their description blurbs, then just put it on the photo. You know, when you tap at the bottom of the photo and the tag is discreet in there. Because it would be good to have it back, just because I feel that this community is all about us and about our makes, and it doesn't matter what level or ability. We just like to show off what we make because we put so much effort into it, and it doesn't matter whether you're experienced or inexperienced. It's effort, and it's still something exquisite when you make it, whether it's your first garment or your 50th garment. And it's just about that. It's about showing those skills off and praising those skills, and admiring them and being inspired, because you never know what you can find. And there's even when I said there, but that the original idea of the gallery and Tony Hart's inspiring me. It's just lovely. And speaking of that, let's have a couple that I have had through email and chat, and you saw a sneak peek there. Yes, there's Sue, Curly Sue, Knit and Natter Thursday, who is knitting now. She had a lesson with me, and I think muscle memory came in, actually. I don't think it was all me. And she's now knitting away. Sue, have you told everyone what you're knitting yet? The Embers shawl. Oh, yes, she's written it there already. I've just spotted it when I asked what you were all making. 8 rows, finishing embers, but not... Well, no, it's all right. But you've really, really picked it up, and it's lovely to see what you're all making. Margaret is still on the moon bumps. Oh, no. Yes, that's frustrating, isn't it, when that on the old wrist thing. Fizz, what are you currently doing? Currently knitting the Passeggiata shawl. M. Oh, thanks for that. Yes, that does help the YouTube algorithm. I'm working on a Tunisian sweater in Malabrigo. Beautiful. Which yarn? Because I might be getting the Rios into the shop. I'm a big fan of the Rasta, super chunky, but I've been looking at the Rios, like a worsted Aran weight. Teddy says, not currently knitting because I dropped a stitch. Oh, no. I can't find the smallest crochet hook to pick it up. All right, leave it on the floor. Yeah, so it doesn't budge. And is that the Malabrigo yarn you're using, Em? Colours Sunset, Ravelry Red, and Azul Profondo. That's like me Italian. Oh yeah, Rob. Oh. Yeah, they were long, weren't they? And obviously, over 2 years of lockdown, they were down here. I think I'm might grow it and get a curly fringe again. It's starting. Can you see it starting to appear? Look there, doing. And I know, I do. Well, I think, as I say, when we get to autumn and winter, now we're there, September, the dark nights, people are will fly in them off their needles, everything. So yes, that's Sue's harbour cardigan, beautiful crochet. Sue was a loom knitter as well, but stunning crochet. Thanks, Sue, for that. And then James, I know you probably don't want me to show this just yet, James, because he's doing the finished picture. So this is a Lavender and Blue collection 2023 that James invested in and got the darker denim blues. And look at that. This is pre-blocking. But remember, Lavender and Blue collection is 4-ply. Look at that. And I know we can't see it just yet, but James, that's looking stunning. Can't wait to see it. I actually forgotten what it was. So if you could put the information in the chat, because you never know what people are thinking. Thanks for that, James. Can't wait to see it when it's finished. And Sue, there we go. And that one there. What's other people? I do like this bit where we just get to see what you're all doing. Yes, well, they are wonderful, and hopefully we'll see your finished one. Oh, say again, Fizz. I missed that. What is Fizz? That sounds like it was like pre-planned. It wasn't, but she just asked me what am I making. Well, I shall show you because I've got my knitting mojo back in between the sewing. Let's put it on this camera here. I am knitting. No, I'm not doing that. Thank you, Nutcracker. You can scoot on off. So, not much, but I've done a strap. Think of it as top down. So that's the strap, and here's the neck. It's a vest top, and I've just started one strap. I'm now on the second strap. like that, of the other side. Let's come back to, where's me? Oh, I've got so many things on the go here. Gallery. There, that one there. So it will look, oh, that's appalling, Stuart. Well, you can do it. Oh, I'll show you this picture instead. There we go. That's what I'm doing. Camisole No9. And I've completely forgotten the name of the designer. Who is it, Fizz? Is it the Everyday Knitter? Oh, I can't remember. It's just gone out of my head. But yes, I'm doing that, and I'm doing it on wonderful 4-ply. I do love it. I moan about it all the time. Oh, my favourite things, Fizz says. My favourite things, Camisole No9. She's got some phenomenal patterns on Ravelry. But this is what I like about 4-ply, is look at that stitch definition. And I'm using Bahram U. More news on that in a minute. And it's 4-ply Wensleydale with alpaca. Oh my God, it's so soft. Can you see the fluff of the alpaca there? But it's exquisite. And I am on my higher highers. As you know, I'm a fan of those. But actually, not just because I'm a fan, it worked out quite well because, let's go back to this one here, because, oh, I've forgotten her name again, Fizz, what was it? My Favourite Things. My Favourite Things actually says, if you are knitting it, it's best to be knitted on metal needles because of the way the yarn works around them and the fineness of it all. So that would a treat. So that's what I'm knitting. Let's go back to the list. Thanks, Camisole No9. Mary, good evening, Mary, or wherever you are, Mary. I'm knitting a shawl of my own design using Revelry Red as well. I'm a bit unsure of what this Revelry Red is, because M said something. Ravelry Red. Have I? Oh, is that the name of the website? Ravelry. Oh, I don't know. Someone enlightened me there. I like learning, as you know. James, I'm in the midst of Gramps Cardi for a workmate's baby. Oh, lovely. Bob, James. Oh, what are you doing, James? Bob and I had a workshop today with Lisa. Well, she was in Denmark. Wow. With Lisa Richardson on Rowan, yes, on the Arabella cowl. I bought a kit in Rowan Alpaca Classic. James, that's lovely. I'll start it next few days. Good. Yes, because sometimes the kits can just get buried to the bottom, can't they? And then they stay in the cupboard. It's the Cathedral Grove by Romy Hill. Oh, is it? Right. I need to go on their website and have a look. Thank you very much for that. Right, coming up now, I've got to press this button first because otherwise my computer won't like it. There we go. And then I do that. So this is the little window. Oh, God, I'm miles off time, Fizz. Why weren't you shouting in my ear? I've been rabbiting in the chat. So this little feature was supposed to happen after the gallery at 8:35. Excuse me. And it's called News. Here we go. It's like me in a news desk. If I had another camera, that would be quite funny. I could just walk over to the news desk, you know, like they do old school news with the old, oh no, it's there, thing down. So this idea is just to give you short little bullet points of what's happening in the yarn world. That could be knitting or crochet or spinning or whatever. And maybe over the month, because the Wool Patch Show comes to you every month, I spy things. If you spy things you think that might be great to inform people on a little news bulletin, then let me know, because it's always good to keep up with what's going on. So this first one here, if you don't already know, where have you been? But in the knitting world, it's the 14th West Knits Mystery Knit Along. As you can see there, Geo Gradient. Kits are available. Fizz will put the link in where you can get more information from actual West Knits. Everyone, well, that's wrong. Mustn't generalize that, because they're it's a certain audience maybe, but many people who seem to appear on my Instagram are getting very excited about it. I did last year, signed up, did Clue 1, and then I got upset and because it was so big and it was such a clever technique, this cast on 10, cast off 10, and repeating it for however many rows. I just sadly lost the will to live with it. So I bowed out after Clue 1. And I know many people do it in different ways. Some people wait till they've seen all the clues, whether they go for it, but there's no mystery then. Let us know if you've signed up for it. But what I can tell you, which I have found from a little bit of digging, Stephen West says it will be a large shawl, but not huge. So it will be a large shawl, a bit similar in size to the Starflake or the White Light shawl. Now, if you go to the link that Fizz has put in, you can actually see all 14 of the past ones. But it uses fingering weight and a gradient of 4 colours. But it's, as he says there, also, it's not as big as Slip Stravaganza, which took 5 colours. There we are. So that's the Mystery Knit Along. Starts in October. So there's still time for you to sign up. Let me know in the comments if you are doing it. I know some people love it and they do it every year. Some people do it and they keep up to speed. They do Clue 1 on October, when did I say? The 14th. And then they do Clue 2 the week after Clue 3. And they must be knitting all day and all night. Oh, Sue, you're doing it, are you? I'm throwing myself in at the deep end and have signed up for Geo Gradient. Well, go for it. Sometimes it's the best way to learn. James, I'm going to be doing it in dystopic fibres. The teal that you got from the shop. Oh, fabulous. Wonderful. Right. And these are meant to be small bites, so I'm not going to talk too much. Next, yes, I just mentioned it on my project that I'm knitting, my Camisole No9, Bar-Ram U, a British knitting brand. They started off, might have been 2014 off the top of my head, even earlier. They celebrated 10 years, so it might have been 2013. Started off as a little shop like me, and as you do, you get more excited and more passionate about wool, which I basically have done. And they then started sourcing their own yarn and then dyeing it. They then started developing into a commercial brand, and they had their own brand being spun in Yorkshire and sold to shops like me, 4-ply called Titus. They had Dovestone. They had all sorts. They had a wonderful colour work yarn, a bit like the Shetland 4-ply. What's that one called from Jamesons and Smith? Spindrift. Theirs was called Pip. I don't know what happened. Life happens sometimes. The shop then closed down, and then sadly they had to close down All Yarn. They're coming back. Yes, they said they're relaunching this September. So if you're interested in British yarns, if you're in Britain and you want to support small British yarns, then maybe you can support them online and then see where their yarn is being sold. Not too sure whether their yarn is being sold just through them or whether they will sell it to us and we can then sell it around the UK, but that's still to come, which is still wonderful. So Bar-Ram you back. And yes, the autumn season means here in Strictly, in the UK, we get Strictly Come Dancing. In America, it's called Dancing with the Stars. I think the format has been sold pretty much all around the world. It is in its 23rd year. That's how long it's been going for. And it started yesterday, where the couples were announced with who the celebrity is going to get which dancer. But it starts officially on TV in 2 weeks. And along with that is this, a Strictly sock along. I know some of my shop customers are doing it. If you're in the UK and you like sock knitting, it might be something for you to do. It's very relaxed. I went onto the Instagram website and they were saying you can cheat as much as you like. But the idea is when you watch Strictly, because it basically goes up, it's for 13, 14 weeks, takes you up to like the week before Christmas. During that time, whilst you're watching Strictly, because the first few episodes go on a bit, several hours, you can knit a sock. Or how many pairs of socks can you knit? Now, and to finish off, I had this, but I noticed that we're at 5 to 9, so I'm probably going to go over. I'll try not to go over too much. Maybe 15 minutes if you still want to hang out till 9:15, because actually I wanted. Oh, Fizz, well done, Fizz. She's in my schedule's gone to pot. I actually wanted to have a really long conversation about this because it struck a chord with me and with quite a few customers in the shop. Don't know whether you saw. You might not have seen across the world, but I shall tell you now. It broke last week. Ursula von der Leyen, I think that's how you say her name. The chief EU lady was giving her speech. And at the time, she was talking about AI. As we know, that's going to be an issue with what AI and I forget what the word is. Generated AI. What it can do. And I'll show you the clip because this lady, Johansson, the EU Commissioner Johansson, was knitting during the speech. And caused two arguments going. There was one camp that was saying, oh, how rude to be doing something else while someone was talking. And then there was another camp that was saying, absolutely right. I can't have idle hands while I'm listening or watching because I fall asleep. My hands have got to be doing something. And some were saying, I've got to have my hands doing something because I concentrate better. So let us know in the chat. I'm going to fire up the little video so you can actually see it and celebrate it, or maybe not. That's what will be nice to have a quick little discussion about it. There we go. So there's von der Leyen. All the EU commissioners there. Oh, I'll go this way. There's no sound. There was no need for the sound. You'll see a quick little cutaway. Camera zooms in a bit. And there, look at that. And she's knitting socks. And as I say, here, for a lot of news companies, certainly the online news for a bit of clickbait, like... Von der Leyen red-faced, one newspaper company did. And I'm like, well, she didn't look red-faced. And then another company were like, how rude is she to knit whilst a conversation goes on? And so let us know what you think. I'm just going to rewind that. Because when you look at some of those faces, you could argue who is more focused. Because are some, we don't know, do we? Some could be away, their eyes could be on von der Leyen and their eyes could be elsewhere. Their mind could be thinking, what am I going to have for tea tonight? Casserole? But it's just interesting how the press reacted, how there was an awful lot of negative press and trying to find that positive press about how good it is for encouraging focus. It takes me back to being a teacher with the fidget spinners, the students who really struggle to focus. We said, have this fidget spinner, spin it whilst I'm talking, because it keeps your mind engaged. Let us know what you think. Would you, if you were von der Leyen, would you have found that rude? Would you have gone, oh, can you put that down, please? Or in any situation, just interested about ways of listening. Let's have a look. Teddy, my work stopped complaining many years about me sewing or knitting in meetings. They prefer me to actually listen rather than getting fiddly and disruptive if they stop. Yeah. Oh, let's get rid of that. Well done, Fizz. I'm with the second camp, better concentration. Okay. So Natasha, good evening, so Natasha. I'm always sewing and darning on my work in Zoom calls. Hope no one from work is watching this. I still haven't knit in a face-to-face meeting yet. Okay, but all online meetings I always knit, otherwise get bored. Yeah, absolutely. I completely. Yeah, Ems. I think it can absolutely agree. But I just found it fascinating how that wasn't in a lot of the press articles, and I can understand why. They want a story, and it's easy to write this with a headline: von der Leyen red-faced as EU Commissioner doesn't look at her. Was like, do you need to look at someone to show that you're listening? I know that's often how we are taught. In the old days, teachers would say, "Look at me while I'm talking to you." It's just interesting, I find. How many people are there making all sorts of plans? I know, absolutely, it's right. Thinking about their casserole or whatever. Personally, I would rather see someone knitting or taking notes of the speech than sleeping and missing the air. Yeah. Absolutely. Very good point. Yeah. Fidget spinners have been proven to help. And I know many of my ladies and gents in the shop, because we often say about, we talk about knitting whilst watching telly. I'm still at that stage where I'm watching telly and I'm engaged. And when I try to knit, I've either not knitted because I'm too busy. I've got locked into the telly, or I've been locked into my knitting and I've forgotten to look up at the telly. I'm still not very good at doing two things at once. But I know many of the knit and natterers say, no, I have got to do knitting whilst watching telly, otherwise I fall asleep watching the telly. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. So there we go. That was the news. Are we ready for the charts? Do you want to see what's hot right now? What is everyone looking at on Ravelry? Do you think it's going to be the MCal from West Knits? We do crochet. Which one do you want to do first, Fizz? Which one? Crochet. Crochet's first. All right, Fizz says crochet. So these are the top 10 current patterns. We've been doing it for 38 weeks since January the 1st. We do something, we keep going, don't we? So this is what's hot right now, what everyone is looking at on pattern-wise with regard to crochet. Take a look. Oh, see anything there you like? So in theory, the algorithm is working out what everyone is clicking on. It's got nothing to do with whether you've logged it as a project or whether you've bought the pattern. It's literally just clicks. And I think we found that last week. I think one of the pattern designers was having a sale, and of course they appeared, I think, 5 or 6 times in the top 10. So that's what it is. And I find it actually fascinating there's quite a difference between the crochet charts and the knitting charts. Crochet can be very varied over of what's in the top 10, from garments to accessories to toys and amigurumi, whereas knitting really does tend to be garments. I don't tend to see anything a wide variety of makes. It just seems to be jumpers or tops. So it's interesting to see that. Say again, Fizz? Oh, they were. Don't know. No, I played the crochet there. Oh, Rita Saab? No, that was crochet. Oh, we'll double check, Sue. We'll double check. Here's the knitting chart. Stand by, Fizz, with your fingers on the buttons. And here's what's the top. Oh, right. No, she's not. You've panicked her. Sue, you panicked her. And just out of interest, while Fizz just gets her buttons and her fingers ready, I'm glad it's not me for once. Sue, yes, are we getting the shop update tonight? It's listed in the notes below. Yes, just a couple minutes, because that's because you're in it, Sue. That's because you know what's coming up. Yes, a quick little update on the refit just before we finish. We've got 5 minutes left to go. Right, Fizz, are you ready with your fingers on the buttons? Right, here comes the knitting charts. Okay. Oh, hands up. Yep, I have boo-booed. Sue, you're very good, Sue. I should actually have said that's a test. But no, I have not even loaded them in. I've made the charts and I've not even loaded them in. Right, this is car crash time, this, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm playing last month's. Right, bear with. Have a giggle. Swig of tea. I'm going to have a swig of beer. Oh, dear me. That was that 20-minute chat we had before. We didn't do our proper drills, did we? Right, I'm dragging and dropping. It's that quick, everyone. I've made them. Can I do it? Oh, I don't know whether... Is it going to allow me to do it live? Knitting. Yeah, here comes knitting. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's all going pear-shaped. Now it's playing the music and you can't even see it. No. Okay, give up. You know what happens. It will be released after the show. Oh, dear me. That's so funny. Ah, all that hard work, Fizz. All that tech rehearsal. Oh, funny. Funny shop updates, everyone. I'm sweating. Sue, though, you're like Hawkeyes. Shop update. Come on, let's finish off. Here we go. We'll skip right. So, as you know, oh no, let's go back to me. Oh no, not that. Right, the shop is changing. We've said goodbye to fabric. We're having more wool. The builders finally came in, so this is what we have. And when you look at it, you'll probably go, "Oh, is that all it is?" Right here. We've got a slat wall up, everybody. So that used to be where the fabric was, and it was an IKEA Kallax. And I've painted it white. I'm waiting for the very clever sign writer, Wayne Tanswell, who does all that old-fashioned calligraphy and cool writing and everything. He's known throughout many villages. He's going to do some really cool writing at the top, and lavender and blue, etc. That's the lavender and blue wall. Now, that should go pop against that white wall. Do you think, everyone? Imagine it hanging beautifully in its hanks. Because before, yes, it looked kind of nice draped on the dresser, if you remember it. But actually, it also looked a bit flat, and I don't think the arty-farty sort of thing worked. So that's good. It's going to be there, and I think it's going to look stunning. And then, can you remember this? That was the huge cutting table in the middle of the shop. And you can see there on the left the wool that was never used because there was nothing there. You couldn't have anything because I stood behind that desk. Well, it's gone. Sue, Chaos, Sue again, with the great help of Curly Sue, came in yesterday. Look at us there. Saturday, pulling it all apart. My word, it was very well made. Sue, thank you very much for your help. And her big car, she took it all away, took all the stuff out of the way because there was a big mess. And look, everybody, you can see the new slat wall on the left there, populated with yarn. So there's going to be a big, huge empty space. Oh, now it's looking like a boutique. Very nice. And we're going to have a little butcher's block in the middle on wheels so I can move it around to places. And I maybe have a model on the top, and I can have some of my postage stuff that I need for website orders underneath. And it's going to be very spacious, so much more accessible. Yes, we could always get wheelchairs in anyway, but when you look at that one, it was a tight turn for the people in the wheelchair, and you can see that's the dresser that's gone. So accessibility wise, which is really important, is now a doddle. You can go in there. Yes, we do have a little step up the back to the knit and natter room, but that is now pretty much knit and natters only, the needles to the left. So it's coming on, it's looking a treat. I am thrilled with it. Really, really pleased. I am, as I say, I am sad to lose fabric, but you've got to sometimes get your emotions away and put your business hat on if you're going to survive. And it is clearly apparent that wool is not only more popular, but my heart is in more with the wool. Yeah, I love sewing. You know, I've got my sewing machine here and I'm still doing it. Still doing all the stuff with Carol. The Strictly starts up. So Strictly shows start again with me and Ting every Saturday, analysing the costumes and talking about that. Love is always there and always will be there. But from a business point of view, I just love the wool. The idea that you can find this wool, you can give money to the farmer, you can get it spun up, you can create different types of wools with different mixes, and all from your doorstep. And yes, I know British wool maybe not be as soft, but there are things that we can do to get it softer and make different blends. So it's all exciting to see the wool develop and grow in the shop, and see where the next 5 years go, because I've only got 2 years of the current lease. It's every 5 years, so we've had 5. We're in this second 5 with 2 years to go, and fingers crossed there'll be another 5. That will be 15 years. Then what will happen? Will we have taken over Long Melford by then? Or will we be just still the same? Knit and nattering out the back with customers and welcoming in people to look around the yarn shop. There we are. I hope you've had a great time. That's an hour and a half. How are we all in the chat? Have we survived? Let's just go for a quick... Oh, Teddy. Oh, I know, Teddy, yeah. But we'll still be talking about it because I'll still be sewing. And you never know, there may be the odd sewing treat in Selly Telly too. Yes, new wool, but as I say, sewing projects. Also, I'm going to start a new project for sewing fans. If you saw the Sewing Bee shows, we had a very talented young British designer called Ryan from Swansea in Wales. I'm going to do a show with him where we look and analyse at the runways from Dior and Dolce & Gabbana and so forth, and we talk about the trends. So for you sewing and fabric fans, that might interest you. So that's to come. Oh, hey, Mickey. Hiya from Seattle. Hiya from Suffolk, Great Britain. Lovely to have you joining us. I know the space, yeah, it's going to be amazing. We've already had a tap dance session because I used to tap dance in my youth, and we were doing like a Fred Astaire thing with Sue on Saturday. Oh, now I am going to. I think I really should stop, but this is interesting conversation. I think let's go back to Shop Fit. So I haven't got my magic pen, but you see where the window box is. I was thinking of one comfy chair there and a little coffee table. Yeah. And a comfy chair, like a little bucket chair, for people who don't want to stand and browse through patterns at the butcher's block. They can sit, or what sometimes happens is partners come in and they don't want to, they don't know much to do with wool. They can sit down there and browse their iPhone whilst the other half is looking around. So, Sue, you've given it away. That's for the back room. Oh, good. Yes. So I am hoping, Margaret, for it to be done within a week, to be sort of fully fitted with stuff. But then we've got to wait for the autumn and winter yarns to come in to populate that long shelf. There's some yarns on there at the moment, but it's still looking a bit sort of spacious. So we'll pad it up when the new autumn and winter yarns come in. And I can't wait to show you those. They are stuck at customs at the moment. Well, we won't talk about that. But anyway. Yes. Oh, so Natasha, yes. You like the idea of Ryan too. Good. Yep. So it's about bringing that young talent through. Kind of reminds me of being a teacher again too. Not the comfy chair. You'll never leave then, will you, James? We can sit when you come and visit on a Saturday. You can sit on the chair. Yes, pump the cushions. Right. Well, we could keep talking and talking, but I'm sure you've got other things to do. Have you enjoyed it? I've loved it. It's been a giggle. And do you know what? It's actually even nicer when it goes a bit wrong, really. We have all this tech here, but actually deep down, we're here because we like being together and talking about wool, or talking about projects, and being a community. And as I say, regardless of age, regardless of ability, regardless of where you are, whatever, that's actually why we do the YouTube, isn't it? Company, human company. That's what we like, that spirit there. So thank you very much for joining. Lovely to see so many faces and some wonderful new faces. Oh yes, Mary, yes, that window. And nice to see you too. Natural light, so you can see so much more space. Love it. So nice to see so many of you in the chat. It's been a pleasure. Cheered me up no end. We're full of vigour now for the rest of the week, aren't we? September. It's cold nights. Can you feel it? Say again, Fizz. Yes. Yeah. And you'll look forward to the top 10 of knitting and crochet being released shortly after. The tutorial should have been released already. I've scheduled it to come out at 9:00 when the show should have finished. Good evening, everyone. Take care. And I'm going to hit the end button. And I shall see you in 4 weeks' time for a wool patch show. We may have a Selly Telly in 2 weeks. Not too sure. I've got to look at the wool. Don't think it's going to be in yet. So we might see you in 4 weeks' time for another wool patch show live. I hope you can join me then. And Fizz too. It's been a real pleasure. We've loved having your company. Take care, everyone. See you later. Night night.